Hey there, folks. Welcome to Hey Pops Financial. We're going to be talking about things over the next few weeks and months that is near and dear to my heart, and that's financial freedom. My name is Larry.
And I'm his son, Mitch.
He thinks today he's my favorite son, and I'll let him think that. Oh, don't tell him I said that. But we're glad to have you here, and we're going to be talking about something that might seem a little bit sterile, a little bit uninteresting when you talk about finances, but we hope to make this pleasant, maybe have a laugh or two along the way. So grab a drink, sit down, relax a little bit, and stay with us for a few minutes, and let's talk about some of these things related to finances.
Trust me, these are things that you are going to want to listen to. We've got a lot of lessons from the School of Hard Knocks from this old guy here, Pops. And some of the things that I've learned over the years, some of the things that he has taught me, and some of the things that I have seen through my own blunders and my own trial and error as we've gone here. So again, we're super excited to bring you these things and hopefully we'll have a good time doing it.
Hopefully, as Mitch said, we can help you avoid some of the pitfalls that we've noticed in our lives, especially in mine over the years that I have been around. I've learned things sometimes the hard way, sometimes by having them knocked against my head hard. But hopefully we can help you avoid those same problems as you go through your financial lives. One of the other things that has driven this podcast and these series of videos that we're going to do is that I have 7 children and 29 grandchildren. I want to teach them some things that I wish that I knew when I was younger. Again, so that maybe they can avoid some of the mistakes I made. So for my children and grandchildren, I hope you're listening. For the rest of you, you're welcome to listen in as well.
To my kids, also, listen up. Papa Larry's got some good things to say, and your dad, well, I don't know if I'll be quite as intelligible, but I'll try to say something smart every once in a while.
Or smart alecky, probably a little of both.
Now, we know that financial freedom might sound like some fancy term or something really, really technical, but really what we're talking about here is having enough money to be comfortable. You know, imagine if you didn't have to worry about finances. What would you do with all that extra time? Do the things that you love to do, like spend time with family. Or, I don't know, maybe if your family's not quite like that, or you don't want to spend less time with your family, you would also have that option to do that. But we really want to go through the things that will allow you to be able to live that financially comfortable life that you want to live. Now, we're going to be going over 6 pillars of financial freedom that are going to be able to help you live that financially comfortable life that you want to live.
So kick back and relax a little bit, and let's preview these pillars just a little bit, if you will. The first one is personal finances and budgeting. Now, budgeting is a subject that not a lot of people like to talk about.
I don't want to say the B word.
The B word, that's right. And so that reminds me of a funny story. I got to put it in here. We had a good friend who was running a daycare at one time, and she told us one of her little girls came up and one day and said, Mrs. Lyman, so-and-so said the B word. And she looked at her and said, oh, what was the B word? And the little girl, in all sincerity, looked up at her and said, shut up. Well, Lori, our friend, thought, yeah, we probably need to work on our alphabet a little bit here.
That's not the B word we're talking
about. But that's
about.
not the B word we're talking about.
All right.
Budgeting is sometimes a difficult thing, and one that not a lot of people like to do because it's hard, at least initially when you think about it. Budgeting is basically putting down on paper everything you spend, everything you have coming in, and seeing how the two match up. It's as simple as that. And so keeping a good track of your finances and what you are actually spending is many times a very eye-opening experience for people. And that's why we like to start with this, because unless you really know what's coming and going, you're really not going to be able to get a handle on anything else with your financial picture.
And like Pop said, we know that it can sound hard and it can be a little bit at first when you're trying to change something. But when we really break it down, it really is very, very simple. And once you get this going, it will become a lot easier.
And it opens the door for everything else we're going to talk about, these other 5 pillars. So budgeting your finances is a crucial step to learn how to do that properly.
Pillar 2 is career advice and professional growth. Now, I've been through my fair share of different careers and different jobs. I've come to Pops a lot to be able to ask him questions about, hey, what should the next move be? How should I present myself? We're going to be talking about things like networking, about continuous learning, whether you're just starting a career or whether you're looking to switch careers. Remember, career growth is a lot like a tree. It grows best when you give it the right nutrients. And those are a lot of the things that we're going to go over with this pillar.
And one of the important things to remember here too is that career growth doesn't mean you choose a career early on, get into that career and stay there the rest of your life. I don't know what the statistics say now, but the average person changes not just jobs, but actual career paths several times. When I was newly married and I had chosen my particular career path, which we can talk about later, how tortuous that choice was. My father-in-law was a pilot. He's passed away now, bless his heart. But I always thought something was wrong with me because I didn't have the passion for the career that I had chosen that he had for flying. He wanted to fly from the time he was very young and got into flying. He had 2 jobs, not just careers, 2 jobs in the same career his entire life. I thought something was wrong with me because I didn't have that kind of passion where I got up and ate, drank, and dreamed about one career. But I realized that rather than being the exception, my father-in-law was the exception because he was a different generation. There was a time that you went to work, at 18 for GE and you retired 45 years later from GE and went your merry way. That's not the case now. And so don't feel bad if you haven't chosen a career and you're getting 25, 30, 35 years old, or you're 40 years old and you want to change careers altogether. It's very doable now, and many people do it. We'll talk about how to do some of those career changes as well as the original choice of what career you want to take.
You want to know something funny is I actually felt very much the same way thinking about you and your practice, your physical therapy practice that you had for 20 some odd years. And here I am with my ADD brain and I want to do 50 different things all at the same time. The principles that we're going to talk about with career development really can be applied to whether you're doing the one thing that you really are very passionate about, whether you want to do a couple different things or make a change somewhere along the way, or like myself, want to do 10 things at the same time.
Great point, Mitch. Thank you. Pillar 3, investing and wealth building. Don't let these scare you off. We're not going to be talking about how you're going to become a multimillionaire. You may, and the things that we talk about will apply even then. But what we want to talk about is just general wealth building so that you can invest with the future in mind, so that you can invest with the ability to and the intent to make yourself financially free. So you don't have to worry so much about those kinds of decisions. I have invested in a lot of different things over the years. I've thought about investing in even more.
Like an ostrich farm?
Like an ostrich farm. I never did do that. My wife still jokes about it. I once wanted to invest in a freshwater shrimp farm, which incidentally now is very possible.
A lot of farms. What's with the farm?
I know. I don't know about the farm thing. Maybe it's the way I grew up.
As a farmer at heart.
I did not grow up in a farm. I grew up in a bakery, actually. But I have invested in a lot of other things, some of which worked out, some of which didn't. We had an assisted living home for a while. We had a vending company. I've invested with other people in real estate ventures. I've done a lot of different things and succeeded at some of them and did not succeed at some of them. So we're going to be talking about some of those things that I invested in, some of the pitfalls that I've seen and some of the successes I've seen, and how you can hopefully avoid the former and enjoy the latter.
And no matter what stage you're at, whether you're in my stage or even earlier, or whether you're old like this guy right here, we're going to be talking about a lot of those things that you can do. And whatever stage that you're at, there are different things that you're going to be worried about. What type of risk you want to take, how calculated it is, whether an opportunity comes your way, if you're going to want to take advantage of it, or maybe it's one that you want to let pass by. And we're going to offer, a lot of different advice on, things from the more maybe less risky and more secure, all the way to some of the more risky ones that that can kind of have those bigger returns. But also the ones that I really like are the ones that have low risk and high return.
There you go. And unlike most of my investing in the stock market, where I tend to buy high and sell low for some reason, we hope to talk about some investments, be they traditional ones or alternative investments, where you can carefully look at what you're going to do and really buy low and sell high like you should do with investments.
And ultimately, what we're going for is security. So we're going to go over how to do that. Now, if you're anything like me, you're really interested in business and entrepreneurship. That's what this pillar is about. This is one where you want to look at everything from a marketing plan to a business plan, how you're going to market your product or your service. I've had businesses from anywhere from bounce house rentals to photo booth rentals. We got Pops here he told you some of the investments that he's done. He had a business practice for a long time, physical therapy. Whatever it is, there are several key principles that you're going to have to implement in order to best market your product or service.
And you know, some people are cut out for entrepreneurship and some are not, and that's fine. If you want to be your own business owner, that's terrific. And I always wanted to own my own physical therapy practice, and I did eventually for 20 plus years. But I was grateful for people that didn't want to do that just wanted to work 9 to 5 and collect their paycheck, because I had to hire some of those people. When I hired people that were really entrepreneurial, I had them for a year or two, and then off they went to do their own thing. So there's a place for both kinds of people. And the principles that we're going to talk about relate to both. And even a lot of people that do want to continue to work 9 to 5 for someone else want a side hustle, want something they can do to bring in a little extra money. In today's economy, there are so many side hustles that you can do, from driving Uber cars to selling on the internet, and whatever you want to do, there's a way to do it and make a little extra cash to supplement your income. So we're going to talk about principles that apply whichever direction you decide to go. Pillar 5, personal development and mindset. This is a little bit different from the other financial pillars, but every bit as important. I just had a discussion with one of my sons about keeping balance in his life and not spending too much time on one area of life and not the others. Part of the problem when we do so is that physically and mentally we get out of balance, and we're not any good to ourselves or anyone else when we're not physically healthy. And so it's important to maintain that proper balance in our lives, and having the baseline healthy balance in our mental stability, in our physical wellness, is crucial to maintaining good financial stability in our lives as well.
And a lot of the principles that we're going to talk about in this pillar can be applied to your personal finances as well as other areas in your life, whether they be relationships that you might have with your family, with your loved ones, with your friends, with your coworkers, or, again, your finances.
And as Mitch said, this really underlines the fact that all of these pillars are so interconnected, you really can't separate one out. It's like having a three-legged stool and taking one of the legs out, the stool's going to fall over. Well, we've got a six-legged stool, so it's pretty stable, but still, you take one of those pillars off, one of those legs off, and you're not going to be nearly as stable as you would otherwise. You may still survive, but they're very, very interrelated, and this is one of those that really underlines that fact.
You'll be walking crooked and back and forth at least.
Or sitting crooked.
Or sitting crooked, one or the other. But again, this is going to make it a lot easier for you throughout your life as well as your financial journey. That leads us to Pillar 6, life skills and practical advice. Now, again, this is kind of connected to the Pillar 5, and you'll notice some other things that are connected to the other ones as well in this one. But here we want to talk about different options to be able to talk about buying versus renting your house, how to deal with a major life change, whether it's marriage or just a change in job. I mean, there's a lot more to consider with these things other than just the finances that come with them, but that is a big part. Now, money can't buy happiness, as they say, but learning how to manage your money the right way in all of these circumstances really is going to make it a lot easier to focus on what really brings you that happiness.
You know, I just heard a quote the other day from Dolly Parton. She said, "Money can't buy smart, and money can't buy happy." I may be butchering this a little bit, but this is the essence of what she said. Can't buy smart, can't buy happy, but money can buy comfort if we're smart enough to be happy. So learning how to be happy, regardless of what life throws at you, is part of this pillar. But we're also going to talk about practical things like what kind of insurance to have. Is it important to have insurance? Other things like what to do, as Mitch mentioned, alluded to at least, life changes. What are you going to do if there's a divorce that happens? And hopefully it never does, but statistically, it's a good chance it might. And are you going to be able to survive without the income from a spouse? Things like that don't necessarily fit into one of these other 5 pillars, but reverberate through all 5 of the other 5 pillars. We're going to talk about some of those things that come up in our lives as well, and kind of finish out our pillars with those.
And a lot of these life events that happen, whether they be positive or negative, really can be made a lot easier if you know how to apply these principles. So they either will be not as bad or they'll be a lot better
if you're financially free.
Now, one of the things about finances is a lot of times it's not about being rich. It's not about how much you have, but it's how you use it, being smart with it, that really makes all the difference. So we're super excited, like Pops said, to bring you our channel, Hey Pops Financial. So hit the subscribe button, leave a comment with the things that you're excited about, and we're excited to have you join our community and hopefully learn some lessons along the way.
And tell your friends about it. We'd love to have them join in too. Even if you're not one of my kids or my grandkids, we welcome you. We love to have you. And we're looking forward to growing together in the next few weeks and months towards financial freedom.